second floor.
Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you're having fun so far. You're listening to The Ride, and I'm Kara, taking you through your afternoon. Stay with me to listen to more awesome classics right here on The Ride. Mulubinaka, for awesome sounds in the afternoon. Wonderful, wonderful classics. Join me on The Ride every weekday right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits from 2 to 7.
Just don't ask me what it was. I think it's 'cause
In this bulletin, another death in boat incident at Lamy Bay. New national security system expected once the National Security and Defense Review is completed. An increase recorded for 2014 tourist arrivals. Good evening, I'm Akosita Tale and this is FBC News. A man rescued from a vessel in the Lamy Bay yesterday has died in hospital. Police confirmed the Fijian man died this morning in the CWM Hospital Intensive Care Unit. Chanel Sivan reports this is the second death from yesterday's incident.
The crew member had been resuscitated by emergency crew on board the Betsy Ross before being rushed to hospital. However, he did not survive the night, pronounced dead at 5 a.m. today.
In hospital at the moment, there remains 3 of the crew members. Altogether, 8 people were taken to hospital yesterday. Now, this also includes NFA officers and also those from the emergency or the ambulance service that had gone on board to try and rescue those who were the victim.
Police have ascertained the second deceased was actually trying to rescue another person who was lying unconscious in the hull of the vessel. It's also been confirmed there was no explosion or fires as reported earlier. However, industrial-grade chemical were involved.
The paint and other chemicals that were taken from the boat are now with our forensics team, and our forensics team are still on the boat also, just continuing on with the investigation, just trying to ascertain what exactly happened, because there were several reports of an explosion, of a fire, but we have managed to ascertain that that was not the case.
Emergency responders who boarded the ship yesterday were also kept in the hospital overnight after they inhaled fumes.
We can confirm that the NFA officers and the ambulance officers have actually been discharged from hospital. Right now we're just taking down the statements because the information that we have is that they went on board to try and rescue the crew members, and it was the fumes that they inhaled which was the result of that.
Police have confirmed the man who died on the vessel yesterday was a South African national listed as a contractor. The Betsy Ross is owned by another South African national. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
A deceased bus caught fire at about 7 p.m. yesterday in Kinoya Nasinu with more than 30 people on board. These images were shot by one of the passengers who, like others, had to jump out of the bus as the fire started. Police spokesperson Anna Naisoro says they're waiting for the Land Transport Authority to conduct its investigation. One passenger recalls the bus was having engine problems since it left the Suva bus stand.
That is the other side that we're trying to also determine, because according to the report that once the passengers got off the bus, they all left the scene. So it was hard for us to try and get information from them, but it is early stage as yet. So if we can try and get those who can come forward and see, and tell us what they saw, then that would also assist the investigations.
Firefighters were quick to the scene and put out the flames. The bus company's managing director, Reginald Mohan, could not be reached for comments. There will be a new national security system in place once the National Security and Defense Review is completed. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama revealed this while opening the National Security Forum in Suva. Sakyusa Naivo reports.
The forum has brought together top-level government officials who will begin work on the National Security and Defense Review. The Prime Minister says the review will underpin Fiji's overall security effort across a broad front.
Part of the review will guarantee civilian oversight of our security and defense sector through our parliament and, of course, the new democracy that we put in place at last year's election. At the end of this review, Fiji will have a new national security system in place that will make it suitable for the challenges we face in a rapidly evolving regional and global environment.
Bainimarama says a developing country like Fiji is vulnerable to the expanding global networks of crime, terrorism and other illegal activity. He spoke of the need to redouble efforts to keep Fiji safe and bolster the security of the people, sovereign nation and resources.
Fiji is determined not to become an easy target. We will defend ourselves with all the force we can muster. And I want to send a strong message to the world of our determination to do so.
Bainimarama says as the country's development and prosperity increases, so too does the threat. He adds the review needs to be given maximum attention. Sakiu Sanaibwa, FBC News.
The assessors in the case of the 6 men charged in relation to a bank robbery in Suva in 2012 have been found not guilty this afternoon. Kunal Prasad and Josiah Usumaki were charged with aggravated robbery, whilst the other 4 were charged with receiving stolen property, namely the money stolen from the heist. The robbery is alleged to have taken place at the BSP Samambula branch. Suva High Court Judge Justice Alesi Temo will give his judgment on Monday. The trial began last week with the state prosecutors producing 19 witnesses. The tourism industry has set a new record with the highest number of tourists arriving in the country last year. Over 690,000 visitors came to Fiji last year, an increase of 5.3% compared to 2013. Christopher Chan reports.
2014 was a good year for the tourism industry.
Visitor arrivals of 692,000 in terms of visitor arrivals, and the increase of over 5% over last year is one of the important indicators of the state of the industry.
There has been significant growth in the 2 traditional markets of Australia and New Zealand, including emerging markets like USA, China, continental Europe and South Korea. This means there is a surge in the number of tourists that are coming from these countries compared to past years.
Increase in the New Zealand visitors is interesting, and the increase in the Australian visitors is a good sign. But when you look at the increase in the total number of New Zealand visitors and over a lower base, which is much more than what the increase for the Australian arrivals, that is a good sign that, you know, that our smaller markets, New Zealand is the number 2 market, is increasing.
However, the record visitor arrivals is only one indicator of the state of the tourism industry. Other factors like yield and revenue are important for hoteliers.
Increase the inventory as much as, you know, we need to increase the airline seats coming in, because we need the excess and the connection from our key source market. So while we're very happy with the record arrivals, I think we got to look at it in a more pragmatic way as to how the actual businesses are benefiting or not.
Tourism Fiji says 2014 has ended on a high, but they're looking to another fantastic performance this year. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Coming up after the break, Chinese community celebrates its New Year.
Ni sambul bina kana turun na kini marama ni bulu bina kana toru bau kini mone lewa. Ni sambul bina kana mone. En go talem no no ni wawai katalau ena mataka ena nai.
En vendela na mai nei tasiri.
Numbulu maleka go ni bilote nai sorta boa.
En lomo ni bonua mai sanganga.
Ni umbulu re go Samuel Samuel. Na no tanga ni wawai katalau en radio Fiji wan nandomo vitina vonga ni venu. Mai no kini diwa ena bi mataka moni tiki na pagruka. Ni kai namaka.
Welcome back, this is FBC News. Chinese New Year celebrations have been taking place in parts of the country since Monday. The famous lion and fan dances and feasting have been the hallmark of celebrations which end tomorrow. Alan Stoltz reports.
Parents and teachers took time off to join their children in celebrations at Yetsen School in Suva. The Chinese New Year is the most prominent event on the calendar for the Chinese community. However, some prominent retailers have seen the opportunities and decided to cash in on the celebrations. So we asked people what they knew about Chinese New Year.
I don't know much about it, but I only know this was the year for the goat, that's all.
I don't know anything about the Chinese New Year, but I've heard it's the year of the goat. So it must be something special to the Chinese people.
It's about enjoying the new year. It's about achieving what is to be achieved in terms of your work, in terms of finances, and in terms of your family.
Red is usually the prominent color for the decorations in the Chinese belief that mythical monster Nian is supposedly afraid of the color red and fireworks. While celebrations continue, there's also a debate on whether 2015 is the year of the goat or the sheep. Zodiac animals that symbolize each lunar new year in the Chinese calendar are written in symbols and not in words. The confusion stems from the zodiac sign of Yang, which translates to colloquial Chinese as either sheep or goat.
The year of the goat means about kindness and friendship.
Okay, it's the year of goats for Chinese, and it's about being kind and friendly.
Whatever the zodiac animal is, one thing is for sure. Celebrations this year will see one of the world's largest human migrations of people back to China to commemorate the celebration. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
The Fijian Elections Office has handed over some equipment that was used in last year's general election to the Ministry for Women. Supervisor of Elections Mohammed Sanim says the items will now be used for the benefit of many people. Shireen Lata reports.
Minister for Women Rosie Akbar giving her seal of approval for one of the vehicles that is being handed over to her ministry. The four-wheel drive is one of the 4 vehicles that will help the ministry respond quickly to the needs of people.
The 2 vehicles will be used by our Operation Task Force in coordination with the Fiji Police Force, the local government and Ministry of Health and Medical Services to mount desired responses to the social issues in Suva and Lotoba City.
Other equipment include ID card kits, desktop computers and printers.
Today's program marks the first step in the endeavors of the FEO in enhancing its support and collaboration with other institutions in Fiji. The FEO sees cooperation and collaboration as the best way forward.
The vehicles were initially given to the Elections Office by the Indian High Commission.
Most of this equipment would have sat there for the next few years, not being used to its maximum capacity, and would have actually become outdated in the next 4 years' time. In the meantime, of course, if it's given to an organization that can use it, you are reaching the optimum level of usage of that particular equipment.
Akbar says the donation is timely and it helps the ministry continue to decentralize its services. Sharin Lata, FBC News.
The Secretary General to Parliament, Viniana Namosimalua, says the incident of the use of a derogatory term in chambers needs to be put to rest. Namosimalua says given that there is no official record of the slur, it's difficult to consider any reprimand or blanket disciplinary actions with no one owning up to it. The matter came to light after Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama referred to it in his ministerial address in Parliament sitting last week.
I don't think she can be expected to rule in the absence of a reliable record. Yeah, so we'll just leave it at that, and we pray that good sense will prevail and that the members will take heed of that caution and that in the next sitting that won't ever happen again.
The Speaker of the House, Dr. Chico Luveni, had earlier this week told FBC News that she would seek legal advice on how to proceed with the matter. The new Kandavu Provincial Council Office Complex has been opened. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama opened the new facilities at the Vunisea government station in Kandavu yesterday. The $310,000 complex was fully funded by the government and is part of the public sector investment projects for the province.
These will allow the provincial staff to shift from the existing location right now, from Tabuki, and then relocate to this new complex in Indonesia.
The new complex will also now be used to convene provincial meetings, which previously used to be held in Suva. Sports is up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Akashita, and good evening. Up ahead in sports, draws finalized for Pacific Nations Cup, and Ben Ryan to scout for more talent at the Fiji Beta Mara Sevens. We'll have this and more after the break.
Ni sa bulu bina kana turna na kini marama ni bulu bina kana doro bo kini mone lewa. Ni sa bulu bina kana mone en do talem no no ni wawe katalau en mataka en nei.
En vendelana mai nei tasiri.
No bulu maleka go ni milote nei sorta boa.
En lomo ni vonua mai sanganga.
Ni bulu go Samuel Samli. Na no tanga ni wawe katalau en radio Fiji wan nandomo vitina vonga ni venu. Mai no kini diwa en be mataka moni tikina pagruka. Ni kai namaka.
The 2015 Pacific Nations Cup fixtures have been released, with the national team to only play one match at home in Suva. Vodafone Flying Fijians coach John McKee says the focus is on reclaiming the title since losing it in 2013, but at the same time building up momentum towards this year's World Cup. Tsalenda Dakadaka has more.
The Vodafone Flying Fijians will be playing only one home game in the Pacific Nations Cup. The national side faces Tonga in the opening game at the ANZ Stadium, with the rest of its matches to be held in North America.
Very happy to start off the home game here against Tonga, and then we've got some travel to North America. So although the draw was only finalised overnight by World Rugby, we've known for a little while, so it wasn't a surprise to us, so we knew the challenges ahead for us in July.
McKee and his management team are slowly starting to sort out the logistics in getting a team together for the competition. He says it's not an easy task given the high number of players from across the globe he will be monitoring over the next couple of months.
A lot of players overseas that we're keeping an eye on, and both in the Northern Hemisphere and in the Southern Hemisphere, and with the Super Rugby starting now, it's interesting. Quite a number of Fijian players there that we've got our eye on. So it's we've got a lot of quality players to choose from, and it's a really matter of knowing the players' form and their fitness, and making sure that we pick the best.
The PNC could very well be the final dress rehearsal for McKee to select the team to take to the Rugby World Cup in September. The players that make the cut for the regional competition will need to put in their best effort if they wish to participate in rugby's biggest showpiece in Europe. Talento Dakadak, FBC Sports.
Vodafone Fiji Sevens coach Ben Ryan will be keeping a close eye on raw talent at the upcoming Fiji Beta Mara Sevens. Well-performing players will be given a chance to prove themselves for a spot in the national side to the Hong Kong tournament, and that includes players such as Pio Tuwai and Samu Singiwa. Josephine Navula has the details.
After the interest shown by two former national sevens players, Pio Tuwai and Samuel Sangiwa, for the upcoming Hong Kong tournament, questions were raised on whether their offer will be accepted. Vodafone Fiji Sevens coach Ben Ryan says they will need to prove themselves in order to be in the team.
I don't know what sort of shape both of those boys are in. The standard in Sri Lanka is not high, so their fitness levels, because it's only a couple of weeks we've got training camps after Maris Sevens, they're going to have to be already very fit.
Ryan adds there are a lot of players in the current team, as well as who will also be fighting for a place in the final squad.
Not only have we got the boys that went away, but we have Apasai Domalai was left at home, Roni Vasiteri was left at home. There's other players that I'm looking at, both overseas and domestically, that I think are going to be pushing hard for the forwards.
The coach who led Fiji to victory at the Las Vegas Sevens after a span of 7 years later says it will take a whole lot of dedication to earn a place in the team.
I expect them to make some personal sacrifices over the next few weeks and fitness, and I'll watch them play at Marist. I'm sure they'll both be playing for Toka Toka, which are a great side and should do well in the tournament. So fingers crossed they're playing well. I want them to look great, so it gives me even more competition for places and pushes the boys.
The 39th Fiji Beta Mari Sevens will be held on the 6th and 7th of March at the ANZ Stadium in Suva. Josephine Vula, FBC Sports.
The Vodafone Fiji Under-20 football side has played out a draw in its second tour match in Myanmar. The side playing against the Myanmar Under-22s held its own and came away with a point against their more experienced opposition. Coach Frank Farina made 10 changes from the side, which lost 1-0 to the Myanmar Under-20s on Tuesday. Fiji will play another match against the Myanmar Under-20 side tomorrow in its third and last tour game. The International Olympic Committee today awarded renowned sports official Charlene Nanda the Women in Sport Achievement Diploma. Each year, the IOC recognizes women and their outstanding achievements in developing and encouraging the participation of women in sport. Nanda has been a team physician for Team Fiji at international tournaments for several years and is also a former president of the Fiji Weightlifting Association.
I was a bit stunned for my nomination when I heard about my nomination. But behind this recognition, I guess there's a big team that supports me and has worked for and with me. And there's a lot of people involved who have helped me to achieve where I am at the moment today.
Nanda will lead the medical staff for Team Fiji to the Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea in July. Meanwhile, tonight at 10:10, you can catch the highlights of the Zimbabwe and United Arab Emirates match, while the New Zealand versus England highlights will air at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. That was your sports for this evening. I'll be back again on Monday. Until then, have yourselves a safe weekend. It's back to Akasita now for business.
A company that provides film production services has received a tax rebate of $490,000 from the Fijian government for an overseas TV commercial that was produced here in 2013. Welcome Fiji Limited shot a 30-second TV commercial for Aeroplan program at the Intercontinental Resort in Natandola. It is an incentive program for Air Canada's frequent flyer customers. Welcome Fiji had to compete with 8 other nations to secure the project to be shot in Fiji. The commercial was shot over 3 days, during which Welcome Fiji replicated Montreal at the resort.
The advertisement of the movies per se, but it's to create employment, is to give that sort of economic trajectory, and of course the multiplier effect of such productions has an enormous impact in terms of improving the livelihoods of ordinary Fijians. But also the brand Fiji, I think, is very critically important.
Welcome Fiji producer Nick Leggett says the company is already talking about another Aeroplan TV commercial campaign in Fiji. The company provides film production services for television commercials, films and photography in Fiji and the Pacific. Afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms affected most parts of the country today. A trough of low pressure with associated cloud and showers over Solomons extends southeastwards over Fiji to Tonga. Meanwhile, a moist east to northeast wind flow prevails over most southwest Pacific countries. 32 degrees was the order of the day in Ba, Lambasa, Lautoka and Nandi. Savu hit 30 while Suva hit a maximum temperature of 31. Cloudy periods with some showers over Vanuatu, Kandavu, Lau and Lomaiviti group, interior, southern and eastern parts of other larger islands. Showers and thunderstorms becoming frequent from tomorrow. Elsewhere, showers especially in the afternoon or evening, isolated thunderstorms with heavy falls expected. Sunday's outlook, occasional rain over most places. Recapping our headlines tonight, man rescued from a vessel at Lami Bay yesterday dies in hospital. Fiji to have new national security system expected once the National Security and Defense Review is completed, and increase recorded for 2014 tourist arrivals. To our poll segment this week, we ask, are there enough public conveniences? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizensize@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page FBC News, or if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's FBC News for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.